Hello students, this video lesson is going to be about consumer application problems that deal with sales tax, tips, discounts, and simple interest. So our first type of problems are going to be dealing with finding the discount and sell price. So we have a formula. The formula is the percent times the whole equals the part. The percent represents the discount rate. The whole represents the original price, and the part represents the amount of discount. So we're simply going to take the rate times the price to equal the amount of discount. And then once we find that value, we're going to subtract that from the original price to determine the sale price. So our first problem that we have is diamonds at discounts. Sales diamond engagement rings at 40% off the regular price. Find the discount and sell price of a half-carat diamond ring normally priced at $1,950. Well, we've got our formula. The rate times the original equals the discount amount. So our rate is 40%, but we have to write that rate as a decimal. So I drop the percent sign and I move my decimal place over 2 place values to the left. I've got 0.40 times the original price, which was $19.50, and that's going to give me my discount amount. I'm going to put that in my calculator, and I get $780. So that $780 is how much I get as a discount. So I'm going to subtract that from the 1,950 to find out what my sales price is. So now that I've got my two items, I have to record my answer. The discount amount is $780 and the sale price is $1,170. Okay, now it's time for you to give this a try on your own. Stop the video and go ahead and complete the next question. A discontinued Whirlpool model refrigerator originally cost $1,197. What is the sale price after a 35% discount? Go ahead and give this a try on your own. So how did you do? The first thing we had to do in order to find the sale price is to find the discount amount. Well, to find the discount amount, I had to take the rate, which is 35%, but I had to write that as a decimal. So we could write that as 0.35 times the original amount, which was 1,197, to give me a discount of $418.95. Whenever you're working with money, most of the problems will indicate to round to the nearest cent. If it doesn't indicate what to round to, always take it to the nearest cent. Every now and then it will say to the nearest dollar, but otherwise take it to the nearest cent. Once I find the discount amount, I simply subtract that from the original price to get my sale price, $778.05. So those are two examples of discount problems. Now let's move on to finding sales tax and total cost. For this particular situation, we also have a formula. We have our tax rate or percent times the whole or the cost of the item to give us our tax amount, which is our part. And then whatever tax amount we have to add that to the cost of the item to determine the amount that we actually have to pay or owe. So for our first problem in this category, we have a graphing calculator is priced at $99 plus sales tax of $7.92. Find the sales tax rate and total paid. When you have a formula, as long as you know two of the items, you can solve for the third item. So this time, I don't know what my rate is. I do know my cost, and I do know my tax amount. So I'm just going to plug those values into my equation. So my unknown is the rate. You could use R or P. Uh, Often if it's a percent problem, I use the letter P, but since this is a rate, I like to use the letter R. So I have 99R equals my tax amount. Now, in order to get the rate by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 99, and I get R equals 800. But since they want me to know the rate, we want to write that rate as a percent. So I have to move my decimal 2 place values to the right and add my percent sign. So I've gotten the rate. Now, in order to find out how much I paid, I have to take that, well, I really don't even need to use my 8%. The total paid is simply the amount of the item plus the tax amount, which was given to us in the word problem. The price was $99 and the tax amount was $7.92. So we just have to add those two things together to get our total amount due, or what we paid, total that we paid. So for the problem that I have for you to do on your own is right below. A Bluetooth headset is priced at $24.99. The sales tax rate is 6.2%. Find the amount of sales tax and the total cost of the headset. So go ahead and stop the video and give this a try. For this particular problem, we're going to have to change that 6.2% to a decimal. So when we drop the percent sign and move that decimal 2 place values to the left, we're going to end up with 0.062. So how did you do? 0.062. There we go. So now I'm just going to multiply those two things together to find my tax amount. And then because we're dealing with money, we're going to round that value to the nearest cent, which is going to end up to be $1.55. That's how much the tax amount is. Now I'm simply going to add that tax amount to the amount that the item cost, which was $24.99, to determine how much I'm going to have to pay, which ends up to be $26.54. So those are two examples of tax amount problems. Our third type of problem is calculating a tip. To determine tip amount, first determine how much you want to give the server. Usually it's recommended to give a server 15% for acceptable service, or 20% for outstanding service of the cost of the service by multiplying the percent by the total cost of the item of whatever service you received. Be sure to charge the percent, or be sure to change the percent to a decimal first and then multiply to the cost of the service. Total amount to pay. Add the tip amount to the cost of the service for the total amount to pay. Some services will then also include a tax, but for this particular problem, we're not going to worry about the tax. We're just going to worry about the tip. So Jane took her brother out to dinner for his birthday. The bill was $58.36 for food and $15.44 for wine. How much was her 20% tip? Round it to the nearest cent and how much did she pay in total? Well, the first thing we have to figure is how much was the bill before the tip. So since she bought two things, we have to add both of those items together. So we're going to add the 58.36 and the 15.44 to find out what her total bill was. And then we're going to multiply that by the rate, 20%, as a decimal. So I dropped the percent sign and moved the decimal two place values to the left. And that gives me a tip amount of $14.76. So I take that value and I add it to the amount of the two items, which was $73.80. So I total those two things together and I get $88.56. So the tip was $14.76 and the pay amount is $88.56. Okay, now go ahead and stop the video and give it a try. So how did you do? Rico and Sasha split a $43.70 dinner plus a 15% tip. How much did the server receive for the tip and how much did each person pay? Now, this is a little bit different because we have two different people. So once we find our total amount to pay, we're going to have to divide that in two to figure out how much each person had to pay. But our first thing is to find the tip amount. So we know how much the bill was because it was just already consolidated into one bill, $43.70. And we know what our rate is, 15%. And if we write that as a decimal, we simply drop the percent sign, move the decimal two places to the left, and we have 0.15 times 43.70, which gives us a tip amount of 6.555. But we want to round that value to the nearest cent. So we're going to have $6.56. So we take that value and add it to the cost of the meal, which was $43.70, to get a total of $50.26. But then we have to determine how much each person paid. So that $50.26, we're going to divide by 2, which gives us $25.13. So each person paid $25.13. Our last type of problem that we're going to discuss today is simple interest. The formula for simple interest is interest equals principal times rate times time. The principal represents the amount that you borrowed or invested. So it could be something that you borrowed from a bank or something that you gave to a bank for them to utilize. And then the rate is going to be the rate that the bank is charging you to borrow their money or the rate that they're going to give you for letting them keep your money. And then the time is always in years. It's represented in years. And it's your how long it's been kept in that particular account. So since interest rates are given per year for loan periods of less than 1 year, express the time as a fraction of a year. If the time is given in months, use a denominator of 12 because there are 12 months in a year. So if a loan is for 9 months, the time would be 9 over 12, 9/12 of a year. If a loan was for 7 months, it would be for 7/12 of a year, and so on. So let's look at our problem. Delta Trucking borrowed $87,500 to buy new tractors. if they paid 11% interest after 1.5 years, what would be the total amount due? Well, in order to find the total amount due, we have to find the interest amount first. And then we're going to add that interest amount to the amount that they borrowed to find out how much altogether they have to pay back. I always like to record my formula that I use, and then underneath I plug in what I know. Well, I know that the principal was how much I um, borrowed. The principal was 87,500. My rate was 11%. Written as a decimal, it's 11 hundredths or 0.11. And then my my years, it's already told me 1.5 years. So I could write that as a fraction. I could make that an improper fraction. That would be what, 3/2. Or I could make that a decimal, 1.5. And if you're utilizing a calculator, you often can put it in either way. Your calculator should have a fraction key if you wanted to write it as 1 1/2, or if you wanted to go ahead and change it to a decimal and then multiply it to the other two items. So when I multiply all three of those values together, I get $14,437.50. That's how much Delta Trucking is going to have to pay in interest. But they still have to pay the $87,500 as well. So we take that $14,437.50 and we add that to the $87,500. So altogether, they're going to be paying this company $101,937.50. Okay, let's go to another type of problem here. Find the interest, find the amount of interest and total amount paid when I borrowed $600 at 3.8% interest for 18 months. I actually didn't do this, but we'll just say this is what I did. So I take my amount, my principal, which is $600, and I take my 3.8% and I write that as a decimal. So I drop the percent sign and move that decimal 2 place values to the left, which gives me 0.038. If you want to put a 0 in front of the decimal, that's acceptable too. Not necessary, it is a better form to have that there. And then since I'm doing 18 months and my t is always supposed to be represented in years, I take that 18/12, 18/12 of a year. So then I multiply those three values into my calculator and I get $34.20. So the interest is $34.20. I take that value and add it to the $600 that I borrowed, and the total due is $634.30. Okay, it's your turn. Go ahead and stop the video and get this last problem a try. Well, actually, it's not the last problem. Second to last, I do believe. So how did you do? The principal is going to be $740. The rate is 6%, written as a decimal, 0.06. Getting that 0 out in front is optional. And it's for 9 months, so 9/12. Plug all that into your calculator and you have $33.30. So the interest amount is $33.30. I take that value and I add it to how much I borrowed, which was $740, to get a value of $773.30. That's how much I need to pay back after the 9 months. the best thing to do is always to save up money and pay it in cash so you don't have to pay any extra money in interest. Of course, we aren't always able to do that, but of course that would be the best thing to do. Okay, now we've got a combination problem. So we have a lot of different things going on here. This particular store is having a closeout sale with 45% off clothing, 30% off jewelry, and 65% off electronics. The store charges 6% sales tax to all purchases. So Danny bought a wireless router originally priced at $129 and a $60 pair of earrings. What was her bill for the two items? Well, both of those items are being discounted, but they're being discounted at different rates. So we're going to have to find the discount amount for each of those items. And then we're going to have to find the sell price for each of those items. Then we're going to have to add those two values, both of those sell price values together to get her subtotal before tax. And then to find the tax rate, we're going to take that subtotal times the tax rate amount as a decimal to find out how much tax amount, and then we're going to add that tax amount to her subtotal to find her total amount due. So we've got our first things we have to do is find our discount amount. And we've got a router and we also have earrings. So just the discount on the router. The router is an electronic item. So 65% discount off electronics. So that 65% is going to have to be represented as 0.65 times the value of the router, 129, to give us a discount of $83.85. Now I'm going to have to determine the value of discount taken away from the earrings. Well, the earrings have a 30% discount. So that particular item is multiplied by 0.30. The earrings cost $60, so 3/10 of 60 is going to give me 18. $18 is the discount amount on the earrings. So now the sales price, I have to find out how much the sell price of each of these. Well, the original price for the router was $129 minus the discount, $83.85, gives me a sell price of $45.15 for the router. The earrings were $60 minus the discount, which was $18, which gives me a price of $42 for the earrings. Now, my subtotal is going to be the sum of those two items. $45.15 plus the $42 gives me a subtotal of $87.15. So that's what my subtotal is. Now I'm going to have to figure out my tax amount. Well, it said that the tax rate was 6%. So I write that as 0.06 times the subtotal, which is $87.15. That gives me my tax amount. When I put that on my calculator, I have to round that to the nearest cent. So that really becomes $5.23. I add that amount to the subtotal, and I get a total of $93.38 is what is totally, which is the bill for the two items. And we have come to the end of our discussion. Well, we've come to the end of our lesson, ending with our discussion board problems. So complete the 3 problems on paper, scan or take a photo image, and then upload the appropriate discussion board form. Be sure to show all of the steps used